السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وارنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وارنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. آمين.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you very much for coming. I want to try a little something different today. I want to ask a question before we start reading. Imagine you are buying a box of donuts for a class. Let's say they're a class of maybe 12 students or maybe even 24 students. So you're going to have to cut each donut in half. What do you imagine they will respond? Or like, how do you imagine they're going to respond? What do you think they're going to say? What are they going to do? So I'd like to hear different responses. And so as soon as you have a response, go ahead. You don't have to raise your hand or anything. So
I think they'll just go for it, however it starts out. They'll be grateful that they have, donuts. And
okay, so they'll go for it. They'll be grateful. Thank you for bringing donuts for us. Any other responses, do you think? Do you think all the kids are going to be grateful?
Someone might not eat it.
Someone might not eat it. I don't like donuts.
They're avoiding sugar or they're counting calories. Who knows?
Some may be disappointed that it's half.
Yeah, some might be disappointed it's half. Asim wrote, what a kind, generous, wonderful person to treat us. Yeah. Fariha said, I only like chocolate donuts, but you got only glazed. Okay, good. I can totally validate all these responses. I work with kids, so bringing them a box of donuts, I get all the different responses. Anything else? Or I think we're good. Anyone else can think of a response? Okay. All right. I think I would just add, maybe someone will get curious. Why did you bring us donuts? Another kid can ask, are we going to get any more tomorrow? So yeah, I just want us to keep this in the back of our minds. And then as we're reading through it, through our reading today, just think of how relevant this is to our daily life, and the variety of human responses to receiving something. Alrighty, I'll go ahead and start reading here. Oh, this is page 138 in case someone needs to know the page number. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman Then before the manifestation of the Godhead, of that sustainer of all the worlds, they responded with worship and humble veneration, which consists of proclaiming their poverty within need, and with the prescribed prayers, which are the summary of worship. So again, as a refresher, what we're talking about, what we've been talking about is how there are two types of guests in a palace that's already designed, and one type of the guest was someone who saw everything and they sort of started using it in the palace, no questions asked. And another group of guests were like, oh no, what's going on? Why does this even, exist? Or not even why, maybe what is the purpose of the existence of these goods in the palace? And we've been studying this group of guests. Like, if you're someone before taking the donut or before finishing that dozen of donuts, you're asking, what's the purpose of existence of this, tasteful dessert? Then we've been seeing how there are stations that this kind of person would go through to arrive at the conclusion naturally that, okay, I must worship, or I must thank, or I must praise the creator or the designer of the palace. So I'm just trying to set the floor for remembering what we're talking about. Thus, through performing their various duties of worship in the mighty mosque, known as the abode of this world, they carried out the obligations and duties of their lives and assumed the finest of forms. They ascended to a rank above all creatures, by which, through the auspiciousness of belief and assurance and the trust, they became trustworthy vicegerents of God on the earth. And after this field of trial and place of examination, their beneficent sustainer invited them to eternal happiness in recompense for their belief, and to the abode of peace in reward for their adhering to his religion of Islam. Therefore, he bestowed on them, out of his mercy, bounties so dazzling that no eye has seen them, nor ear heard them, nor have they occurred to the heart of man. And so he does bestow these on them. And he gave them eternity and everlasting life. For the desirous, mirror-bearing lovers of an eternal, abiding beauty, who gaze upon it, will certainly not perish, but will go to eternity. The final state of the Quran's students is thus: may Almighty God include us among them. Ameen. So for the last couple of times, we've been seeing the different stations someone would go through of thanking and praising. And in each stage, it's almost like the worshiper, or let's call him like the trusted guest. The trusted guest is someone who's almost responding back to the creator saying, okay, I see you, I see what you've done, so thank you. And someone who asked, okay, questions like, oh, I like what you're doing. Why are you doing this? Or how are you doing this? And then willing to love the creator. That was the last stage of last week, that also love was also directed to the creator. So today we're kind of wrapping up what's going to happen to this trusted guest. And I like how the author is taking us through that, performing all these duties of worship, you naturally arrive at a rank above all creatures. And I'm not sensing like it's a rank like, oh, from the lowest to highest. It's not like a objective hierarchy. It's more like setting the human apart from all other creatures, yet connecting it to all other creatures at the same time. Identifying that human has given the trust, and identifying that they can become trustworthy vicegerents of God on earth. And I think it's almost like the author is identifying, okay, there's two rewards to this whole process. One, you become the mirror-bearing lovers of an eternal abiding beauty, which it's almost telling you, okay, you're not someone who's just going to enjoy the goods in the palace. You're also going to reflect someone who is eternal and beautiful. So that's almost like one reward or one beauty of the process. And then the second, of course, is that, okay, if you think you've seen everything in the palace, no, you're wrong. There's much more, and it's something you can't even imagine. Yeah. That's it for me. What do you guys feel or think about this so far? Or if you have any questions.
That phrase, mirror-bearing lovers of an eternal. It's an interesting phrase. What does it mean to be a mirror-bearing lover? That's the thing I would ask myself. Do you have any idea, or anybody? Because we, as human beings, if we think of ourselves as a mirror, but what are we reflecting as a mirror as human beings? It's a beautiful language. Let's say you go to look at your face in the morning in the mirror. The reflection is yours, but the thing is, as a human being, our spirit, our soul, not just the body, is a mirror. And of course, we are endowed with different kinds of qualities that we find ourselves in. But just imagining that mirror is reflecting actually is a mirror-bearing lover of an eternal abiding beauty. A reflection of some beauty that we cannot even fathom in terms of this world that we see around us. But the owner of that beauty, what multiplied by infinity. And that's what we're reflecting as a mirror bearing, and not just the beauty, but every other quality multiplied by infinity. Is just an amazing kind of situation to be in.
Oh, go ahead.
A couple of points attracted my attention. First of all, describing the universe as a mosque of worship. It is mighty mosque known as the abode of this world. It means mosque means the place of worship. Does not necessarily mean that it's a limited it would be a limited understanding if we reduce it to then Muslims can pray anywhere, but that's only for the earth. You don't have to be in a masjid, correct, but it is a very limited, it would be a very limited understanding of it. The whole universe is a mosque. It means we conscious human beings are expected to use every means here in order to appreciate and respond back to the creator of the universe. There is nothing which may not be helping for us, may not be useful for us to communicate with the creator. So maybe taking your donut example, it is beautiful. I responded nothing because I am not very good at in my relationship with donuts. So I'm avoiding the sugar and these artificial things. That's why. But I thought it would be a bit, maybe this is of my understanding, a better example if you presented that I brought the donut, put it there in the class before the class hour starts. Students came and I wasn't there, but watching through the camera, let's assume that, and see what they would do. So it would be more appropriate to the reality of this universe. That came to my mind, actually. But that is not the criticism of the example. That was a simple example to warm up with the subject of the text we are reading. But the reality of the universe is like this. Everything is prepared. When I was brought into this world, everything is prepared for me. And there is a direct relationship between the qualities manifested in this world and my human qualities. They communicate with each other, like the donut and my hunger, maybe if I'm hungry that time, and also my appreciation of taste, sweet taste. So they are corresponding to each other. What are we supposed to do now? We are the trustworthy vicegerent of the creator of the universe. Means you brought the donut to the class and you trust the students that they wouldn't throw it away. No, I don't know, in America maybe, but in Bangladesh, definitely not drop, even a piece wouldn't drop on earth. Everything is appreciated because depending on my neediness. So if I reduce my neediness to the capacity of my stomach, of course, very limited. I'm not a human being, then something else, living being. But if my need is included into all human senses, then I have to really release all my human senses into the universe and start communicating with them and responding back. But here the result is described as in the hereafter. Yeah, maybe a abode of peace in the world of in reward for their adherence to his religion of Islam, whatever the message. Well, this is addressing to the Muslims. We can understand, we should understand actually this kind of language as, look, there is a relationship between the universe and, or the message of the creator of the universe and my spirit. If I respond back to the creator through examining what he has prepared for me, what he has provided for me in this world, and see the quality of them, appreciate the quality of them by using my human qualities. So everything is meaningful, everything is purposeful, everything really is a means of communicating with my feelings and understand that meaning of the universe is what I am looking for, and the universe is witnessing to a creator who must be an absolute being. So I understand, oh, our creator must be an absolute being. I conclude that this creator is really satisfying my needs, giving me a guarantee in this world that all my human qualities will definitely be satisfied. How can I make sure that I can apply it practically right now to my feelings? Make it a comparison between if I am a meaningless, purposeless being in this world, and I have an absolute creator who is introducing himself to me and making me feel sure and secure that all my needs can be and will be satisfied by him. He has this capacity. As soon as I conclude this, or as much as I conclude, I reach this conclusion, I start feeling the comfort in myself, security in myself, and my spirit, before I die, don't wait for death, will be in the abode of peace, in reward for my adherence to the message I receive from the universe, and also confirm the message the creator of the universe sends to me through his messengers. They correspond to each other as well. So by this confirmation through various means, I start feeling as if I am in secure hands. Whatever happens to me doesn't really matter. And with this spirit, when my spirit leaves the body, in this status, the spirit must be treated with its creator as he promised me that he can do it, because he introduced me with this capacity as he promised me he can do it. This introduction is a promise. I can do that. What does it mean? He is demonstrating his qualities, guaranteeing my expectations, because human beings are essentially full of expectations, but in contrast to the fact that they cannot satisfy any of their expectations. I cannot really make sure what my life will be tomorrow at all. But what I need, I want a happy, pleasant life tomorrow. Who can guarantee it? The one who created this feeling, as well as today, the universe as it is today. So he can guarantee that he can give me the pleasant life tomorrow by proving that through creating today. It is a promise. What I understand now in terms of this temporary universe, today's existence is a guarantee for tomorrow's existence. If you, if you attribute it to the creator, if you attribute today's existence to accident, then it is not a guarantee for tomorrow's existence. So you say it may not, I don't know. But my expectations are so real, it is there. The last one, since I got the mic, this mirror-bearing lovers. Now, we can use our classical example as appreciating the art. If I appreciate the art, what happens? All the beauty of art reflects in my feelings, in myself. What I am doing now, even, for example, I was in an art exhibition hall and I was amazed with the beauty there, and I left the exhibition hall. I come out, although my body is not there, with the appreciation of the art ingrained in my being. Now, if someone is able to see my feelings, my human qualities there, he will see that I am reflecting the beauty of the art as much as I appreciated when I was in the exhibition hall. But this reflection is in me. That is why we are in the mirror bearing lovers of the creator of this universe as believers. If we don't really appreciate the universe and attribute it to the creator, we reduce the universe to nothing. Of course, there will be no art manifested in my spirit. I said, I have been in a place there were some, I don't know, mess of things, mixed up colors or something. So this is in the opposite case, it would be my spirit now, states of spirit. So this spirit will definitely must be treated by the one who gave this ability to us. It means appointed us as the vicegerent of the creator of the universe. So vicegerent may be appreciating and assuming the beauty of the art, or not appreciating, just really denying, rejecting the beauty manifested in the universe. And this will be a kind of mirror bearer of meaninglessness. That is hell. God forbid. After separation from my spirit from my body, my spirit will be treated accordingly. I definitely feel that the creator is not a crazy and meaningless being or with no wisdom. So he must have a wisdom. He must have wisdom by creating me with these senses. This is the most important thing, is we have to look at our senses. We have to use our senses and feel free. Otherwise, we should be really losing at the end of our life, as well as our life here as well, will be just fallen into meaninglessness. Wassalamu alaikum.
Thank you. I think also the past couple of discussions, or how the author walked through the stations, it slowly helps us, or it slowly sort of invites us to that mirror bearing station, I guess, if we can call it a station. Because again, it's more like each station discussed how you're going to use your own qualities, or sorry, your given qualities and your given senses towards praising or thanking the maker, or even appreciating or praising. So I think if you are really aware of each station, and if you're really aware of using these qualities and senses towards the creator, then eventually it becomes, I don't like using the word natural, but it becomes natural, or it makes a lot of sense that eventually you become a reflection of that, because this is all you do, or not like this is what you intend to do. Yeah. All right. Would you like to comment on it, Asim, again, or ask anything else, or if anybody else wants to comment on this phrase as well? Okay, I'll take this as a no. We're gonna move on to the other group. So as for the other group, the sinners and the wicked, when they entered the palace of this world at the age of discretion, they responded with unbelief to all the evidences of divine unity, and with ingratitude towards all the bounties, and by accusing all creatures of being valueless, and, insulted them in an unbelieving manner. So first, for me to understand this, made a sequence out of it. So the first thing you do is you say, okay, everything is valueless. And then the second thing is you're becoming a little ungrateful towards the bounties. And then, moving back and forth pages. And then you basically disbelieve, or arrive at the conclusion that, okay, this is all pointless. So again, it's the interaction or the relationship you have with the creatures that will determine how you react to it or how you respond to it. And then it will also determine how you conclude about the existence of things or the existence of creation. And since they rejected and denied all the manifestations of the divine names, they committed a boundless crime in a short time and became deserving of endless punishment. For the capital of life and man's faculties were given him for the duties mentioned above. Of course, if I'm someone who's perceiving things around me as valueless, there's no point of even looking for a manifestation of divine name. Or I wouldn't care to see a manifestation of divine name at that point. Go ahead, Brother.
I really love this simplistic and biased idea of the interpretations of the scientists. I love them. It helps me a lot, really. But of course, I have to have, first of all, I have to establish my stand. Thus I cannot jump into what they are saying if I don't really make the analysis within myself and come to a conclusion that this must be true. And then not because I said this must be true, in order to confirm my conclusion, I have to compare it with what the opposite side say. Opposite side says, so simple, accidentally developed. How? Evolution. So simplistic. What is evolution? We are talking about this matter as deteriorating within itself. They know that with the very famous second law of thermodynamics, with the order is becoming more and more and more disorder. That's called entropy. That they say this. But Evolution takes place in the animal life as they claim. But when they are so, I don't know, makes me crazy, generalize it to non-beings as well. Wow, how? How order is improving? You said it's a principle, every science must agree on it. The order is disintegrating itself. It means becoming more and more disordered. They give the simple example, if you break an earthenware plate, for example, it is very easy to break it and the pieces just jump around. Is there any way to calm all these pieces again and make the plate exactly with no crack in it? They say the order of the universe cannot allow it, because disorder cannot turn into order. But logically, the order turns into disorder. It's very amazing things are going on there. And one of the very, very famous, very famous, Heisenberg, his very uncertainty principle, everybody agrees on it. He says, why uncertainty? Because he says, so ridiculous. The more the universe acts by itself, of course, according to his language, the more meaningful what is going on in this universe, purposefully arranged, perfectly arranged. Yeah, Lucas said, you will say that he will appreciate it. He says, the more he become meaningless. Look at the conclusion of a great mind of the people, the unbelieving people. The more the universe becomes beautiful, the more it becomes meaningless. Why? The beautifulness of the universe doesn't make any sense to a person who denies the purposeful creator. Of course, for him, it doesn't make any sense. Your students in the class, you put the donuts on the desk, they came and you are not there. Now, if they say, oh, it happened to be here, meaningless, but it is so delicious. Why? It is so delicious, but it is, how it came here is meaningless. Do you understand? Contradiction. That is why he thought in this way and really came up with this, it's very famous, everybody knows it, uncertainty principle in the creation. But the philosophy it produced, or this principle produced, rather than saying the universe in and of itself cannot make anything certain at all, he transferred it into the universe is like this, so there is no certainty in the universe, so there is no absolute truth in the universe, so we cannot find any sign of the absolute truth existing in the universe. Look at this so simplistic distortion of human mind and really insulting the human reality, saying that I will find something very meaningful, but say that, oh, this meaningfulness is meaningless. Why? Because I obstinately denied the purposeful creation, act of creation. There is no creator. Yes, I would agree with them if there was really a possibility that there was no creator at all. Yes, this universe is meaningless. But is there any sign that the universe is in need of a creator, meaning in the existence of the universe? Is there any sign that it doesn't necessitate to understand for human logic that the universe is a creator? There is no relationship with the way they are describing the universe and with what they conclude about it because of their blindness, of their obstinacy, that they wouldn't jump into, or they didn't talk about religion, about belief in God. This obstinacy, I understand that my belief in God really, really true. So thank you guys. I tell them, thank you for your effort. Although it is very harmful for you, it is very useful for me. Alhamdulillah, it helps me confirm my belief.
Thank you. If there aren't any questions or comments on this paragraph, I'll move on. Okay. Oh, my senseless soul and foolish friend, do you suppose your life's duty is restricted to following the good life according to the requisites of civilization? And if you will excuse the expression, to gratifying the physical appetites? Do you suppose the sole aim of the delicate and subtle senses, the sensitive faculties and members, the well-ordered limbs and symptoms, and the inquisitive feelings and senses included in the machine of your life is restricted to satisfying the low desires of the base soul in this fleeting life? God forbid. So far, he's as though he's asking or inviting us to ask, like, what is the aim of what are different aims of the delicate and subtle senses that we're given? What's the purpose of our sensitive faculties and feelings? And I guess to further like add to it would be, what's the meaning of the existence of all of these, the feelings, the senses? Okay, and now he's going to argue, no, this is not the aim of your creation at all. And so it says there are two main aims in their creation and inclusion in your essential being. The first consists of making known to you all the varieties of the true bestower's bounties and causing you to offer him thanks. You should be aware of this and offer him thanks and worship. Okay. It became a huge jump where we went from, do you think you have all these feelings and senses to satisfy your own self? Or is it really to know or make known to you of the true bestower and to be able to offer him thanks? Okay. And then the second aim, the second is to make known to you, again, by means of your faculties, all the sorts of the manifestations of the sacred divine names manifested in the world, and to cause you to experience them. And you, by recognizing them through experiencing them, should come to believe in them. So here it's instead of restricting your feelings and senses to the worldly things, you should understand that, okay, you can expand or realize that these given qualities are given to you so that you can know or experience the manifestations of divine names, so that you can offer thanks, and so that you know who the or become, so that you know the true bestower. Thus, man develops and is perfected through the achievement of these two basic aims. through them, man becomes a true human being. So if you completely neglect these two aims, it's almost as if you cannot be a true human being. You're only experiencing the most basic status of life, or you're just experiencing the basic quote unquote good life. Okay, any thoughts here? Go ahead.
So it kind of makes me think of the mirror example, but like the opposite of it, which if you're not a mirror, it feels like you're a sponge, like just using up, whatever you experience, but it goes nowhere, right? But in a mirror, you're reflecting it back to something eternal. It becomes meaningful. So the opposite of it feels like a sponge that's just going to disintegrate. To me, that's what image came in my mind.
Thank you. That's very helpful. And I think, to be honest, being the sponge can be tempting, and being the mirror always seems a little more distant and difficult, even though that's not, I don't think that's the reality. This is just, I don't know, probably misconceptions or something. Anyone else? Do you want to share any thoughts, reflections, or feelings? We're gonna go into a new example, or like a small comparison to further explain this, but why is this good life so appealing? Some would say this perspective is depriving the true self. Can you say a little more about that?
Assalamu alaikum. I think, he writes that, if you scroll up a little bit where he says about, and do you suppose your life duty is restricted to following the good life according to the requisites of civilization? I'm not disagreeing with him, but what I'm just, as a counterpoint, I guess, why is it that civilization deems it to be the aim of the individual? I mean, I have my own thoughts. I think like to gratify the physical appetite seems to be the aim of civilization. And some would say to me, well, you're not doing that. You're not being true to who you are. The human being wants to gratify himself with those physical appetites, but you aren't doing that, and you are depriving yourself, it seems. I mean, I heard that, you hear that, honestly, in society today. I mean, my opinion is that is because the aim of civilization is this life itself, and that the horizon of their timeline is short. It extends only to this world, and I guess because that's the case, and there was a lack of contentment to just seeing yourself as some sort of transient being who's going to become dust, then really what's the point of anything? And so it becomes a replacement because man seeks some sort of aim and purpose. And so the aim and purpose becomes this life itself. So that's what I think. I don't know if anybody else has any thoughts, but It's interesting he says that. I mean, he's contrasting civilization with this sort of belief perspective.
Yeah, I think he would mean like the materialistic civilization, not a civilization in I don't know. I'm reading the word civilization here negatively, not positively at all. But that's all. Go ahead, Brother Ali.
The transit aspect of this word, I think, related to our bodily existence, to satisfy the needs of our bodily existence. Of course, the civilization nowadays, not civilization in general, we have to try to make our worldly life also comfortable as much as we can, but it cannot be our main purpose. Reducing all my life to have more means to satisfy my bodily comfort. That would be a reduction. Otherwise, nowadays, this civilization represents paying attention to the transient aspect of the universe and reducing human beings to bodily existence only. So we should not really be carried away by these civilizations. And most of them are nowadays are artificial needs. Needs are invented, and the means to satisfy these needs are produced by them as well. So there is a historical loss of things are going on. This industrialization forced people to come and live in big cities together, and now you cannot think of living in a place, for example, I don't know other places, but especially now in New York, without taking into consideration of your shelter. It means, where am I going to live? Rents are so high, and the houses are beyond normal human financial capacity. So it is the main concern, rent. But in fact, it is not a human essential need to rent a house. You can, the earth is so, all the forests are empty. You can live there, but it doesn't mean that we should go over them. But we have to understand at the same time that you have to work so hard in order to pay the rent. What is the result of rent? Industrialization. But so as a result of industrialization, we have cars. But having cars, what are we doing with the cars? We are going long distances. For what? To do our shopping, to do some other things which are, again, artificially created or invented in this world or produced in this world. We have to be careful and fundamentally understand that this life on earth is not only for satisfaction of our body, but also for satisfaction of our senses as well. We have to look for the satisfaction of our expectations, of our feelings.
Thank you. All right. This example might help us understand what the author is trying to, show us. So look through the meaning of the following comparison and see that human qualities were not given in order to gain worldly life like an animal. For example, someone gave one of his servants 20 gold pieces, telling him to have a suit of clothes made out of a particular cloth. The servant went and got himself a fine suit out of the highest grade of the cloth and put it on. Then he saw that his employer had given another of his servants 1,000 gold pieces, and putting in the servant's pocket a piece of paper with some things written on it, had sent him to conclude some business. Now, anyone with any sense would know that the capital was not for getting a suit of clothes. For since the first servant had bought a suit of the finest cloth with 20 gold pieces, the 1,000 gold pieces were certainly not to be spent on that. Since the second servant had not read the paper in his pocket, and looking at the first servant had given all the money to a shopkeeper for a suit of clothes, and then received the very lowest grade of cloth and a suit 50 times worse than his friends, his employer was bound to reprimand, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, sorry, him severely for his utter stupidity and punish him angrily. Okay, so the example really quickly, because it confused me when I first read it. It's two people. One servant gets 20 gold pieces, and he was told specifically to get clothes, and he got it. The other servant, he was given 1,000, and he was given a piece of paper, and he was sent for something in particular to do, but he ignored the paper, and he didn't sort of question what kind of business to do. He just looked at the first servant and thought, oh, okay, I need to go buy clothes too, so I'm gonna go get it. And so he does, but then he ends up buying something of the lowest quality instead of the highest quality. So I'm thinking here the gold pieces are representing human qualities. And if you're given these gold pieces and you misspend them, you end up with something even cheaper or something even not as worthy, even though you had something that's so worthy. Okay, go ahead, Brother Adi.
So this the first servant, like representing body. Body needs some clothes, correct. But the second servant looks like human soul. So there is a paper in it. It means list of needs. It means endless list of human satisfactions, feelings, the satisfaction of the feelings. So if this person uses 1,000, it means a huge amount of capacity, but he has a limited amount of capacity, 80 years and dies, finish. But, and also body, you can feed the body once or twice, and when the stomach is full, finished. And when he feels warm, if the weather is cold, it is okay, finish. But for human spirit, there's no end. So we have to read the list, put in our soul, which kind of satisfactions we are in need of. And the satisfaction, we need beauty, we need existence, we need life, we need energy, power, we need wisdom, we need love, we need to be loved as well. So we have to learn, etc., endless things. I cannot use this human soul in order to take care of my body only, bodily needs only. but I have to take care of the needs of my human spirit. But first of all, I have to pay attention to the capacity of my feelings, my soul. First, read this piece of lists paper. The lists of needs are listed there. It is human capacity of human soul. When we look at it, really we can see how twisted today's world is. Everything is for the beauty of the body, satisfaction of the body, satisfaction of human egoistic expectations. Everybody must admire me. Everybody must appreciate me. That is what is going on in this world. How can you impress your neighbor? How can you impress your friends? Which kind of beautiful pictures of yours you can share on Instagram with your friends? So make them jealous of you. This is just really sadistic satisfaction. But we should never, ever share anything with other people which may cause jealousy in them. If you know that God gave you something really precious, don't present it to those people who will turn it into a means of jealousy. Don't present it. But if someone is thankful to the Creator, acknowledges the Creator of this beauty that you received, then share it with the believing people like yourself. No, it is so crazy what's going on in this civilization nowadays. We have to be really, really very conscious of what is going on in the world. Otherwise, we will be just really living in our small house and we think that the whole universe is like my house. And then we try to understand, I'm a Muslim, alhamdulillah, let's pray together. I mean, that is necessary, but at the same time, you cannot really become aware of the danger that you are also falling into it. But without realizing that I am also in it. That's very important. Wassalamu alaikum.
Thank you. I think, sure. I see another hand up. Go ahead. And then after that, Brother Ali, we can end with a small dot. I'm sorry, we're past time. I'm very sorry. Go ahead.
I can speak next week too. Okay.
No.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, just like what came to mind as we were reading this last paragraph, at least, was that, you know, in the book, the second servant is, to what I understand, is also aware of his position as a servant as well, and he realizes that the gold is given to him by someone. However, I guess there's 2 points of, or 2 issues that arise, which is, one, while he's also looking to somehow, you know, follow the order of the person who gave him the gold, he is being negligent in terms of not reading that piece of paper. And perhaps secondly, he treats his own situation exactly as the way that he observes someone else is treated. So in a way, he kind of like goes with the flow. He follows what he sees, whereas every person and their particular condition is kind of unique to that person, even if it may look similar on the outside, although the human condition itself, as the text is also highlighting, is in need of an internal absolute being. So I think the issue is in being negligent of one's, like, there's a level of awareness there in terms of like the gold is given to him, the second servant, but there's also a level of negligence because he treats his situation exactly like the other. And while his intentions may not be in the worst of places, there is still not optimized utilization of free will that places him in a less than ideal sort of situation.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that.
I think this concludes our discussion today, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. Inshallah, I'll see you next Monday.